Welcome back to my channel. So, I noticed that I post pretty long videos. A lot of times I just ramble, just go on about whatever I think is important to talk about. Sometimes I'll be up at like early morning, like how I am right now. Probably because I go to sleep a little bit early. But I wanted to talk about the realities of retention, right? So that's mostly what my channel is about. It's about conserving your energy. You gotta realize that everything you see on the internet is not always real, right? I think a lot of people know some of this, but let's be honest here, guys. Like, the only thing you know, really, is how you feel in the moment and what's around you, right? In your present moment. Like, what's going on right now. And then everything else is just memories, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? So when you retain, guys, like, it's hard to explain, because every time I go on a longer streak, right, it feels like you're missing something. It feels like you're missing out on, watching the content or whatnot. But eventually it gets to a point where you don't want to, like, and you don't really care to do it. This world we live in is pretty backwards with everything, right? You don't want to chase pleasures. You don't want to chase things that bring you a lot of pleasure, because oftentimes they can lead to your own destruction, right? Overstimulating yourself. I've noticed that I go on social media sometimes and I'll get off social media, because every time I get on social media, guys, like, I can't be on it without wanting to scroll or wanting to look at some woman, or you know what I mean. Not everybody's going to be honest with what they do on, social media or whatnot. It's just the realities of life, right? Like, some people are just gonna tell you my life's great, when really they're not doing as much as they say they are, right? They're just posting for everybody else to see them. You would think that life is like it's a strange thing, right? Especially nowadays. People are so lost. People are lost on what they're doing. Not everybody, but a lot of people, especially who are like trying to be known for like being famous, or known for something on the internet, right? They're pretty lost, guys. Like, there's so many people like this that want to be known. Now, at one point, actually, I never really wanted to be like, I would have to say I never really wanted to be like super known for something like that on the internet. I'd rather be known for something that's like positive, if I was known. on the internet. That's why I make these videos talking about retention and, fitness and whatnot. Like, fitness is kind of like everybody should be working out, right? Everybody should be doing that and just taking care of themselves and eating proper. Like, that's normal, right? Retention is kind of like the unnormal thing, but it is still a normal thing. It's just unnormal to a lot of people because they never really even think about it, right? And I've noticed it's kind of becoming more normal for people to talk about it, on the internet. But a lot of people still stray away from the idea. I don't think you'll ever get to a point. Who knows? God's the one who really is controlling everything. But I don't think, personally, just from my standpoint or view, I don't think there will be, a time when there'll be a lot of guys out here not releasing and just retaining. If it were that way, right? Say if there was a lot of guys who weren't releasing, you'd have a lot more masculine men. You'd have a lot more men kind of standing up to the government and standing up to like some of the things they were doing. There wouldn't be all this like weirdness with men being gay. There's a lot of men who are gay and doing some weird, just gay stuff with other men. And I highly doubt that a lot of these men are actually gay. You know what I mean? They're just doing I don't know, maybe stuff for the internet. They just want to be seen by other people, or just to get more followers or whatnot. And they do it and then they get used to doing it. But in reality, they don't even want to do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't something they wanted to do. If you look at from like the 90s, right, to now, I mean, yeah, a lot of these things were going on back then too. But there was kind of like more of a structure. There was like, you don't do this, you don't do that. It's like now you have a lot of people who don't have that structure or even, morals or principles, right? So you have to understand that some people, they just do things and then they are like, okay, well, I did this and that. And how they don't even think like how that's going to affect them like later in life. Right, guys? For me, at least, I wish I had a little bit more structure myself. Like, that really kind of defines, like, who you might become or who you will be, right? Having some structure and understanding that some things should be private, some things should be in the comfort of your home, some things should be not really glamorized. Something shouldn't be shown to the world really in that kind of manner. A lot of people are just not caring, it's like a not care energy and they want you to feel the same way. But I think that there's like there's a lot of people, like if I want to get to like the spiritual side of things, right, guys? I think there's a lot of people who are being taken over by spirits, right? They're drinking, which is a spirit. They call it spirits, right? Now, I don't really look at drinking as necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're not like drinking too much, guys. And I'd prefer that you should drink like wine instead, right, guys? Than drinking, hard alcohol. So even beers, like beer is good too, but like even beer, I think that there's just too many things bad about beer, right? Like you're gonna obviously get a beer belly if you're not like working out and stuff. But anyways, guys, I do think there's a lot of things. There's a movie. There's a lot of spirits, is what I was gonna say. There's a movie where it shows that like the span of human race, and it shows like the spiritual side of everything and why certain things happen the way they did. I forgot what it was called, like Nature of Law or something. And it's on YouTube. It's a free video or free movie. And it goes into like depth on like the process that that people were going through, right? The celestial beings created, human life, and then they created like these other kind of like beings that were less human than humans were, to increase the population. The population got too big. There was a lot of evil spirits. That's how hell was created and whatnot, right? Because they needed a place to go. Then eventually hell got abolished. So there really was no more hell, But I mean, it's a great movie. Like, I don't remember it exactly. It's been like maybe a year since I've seen it. But every now and then I tend to go back to it, and I look at how everything panned out. It's like, wow, this actually makes a lot of sense. Like how it's just like the spirits and whatnot started from like greed and lust and things like that, guys. It's like the same thing with retention. The reason why you get so many benefits and these abilities is not because it's not because just you're holding your seed, right? Which is, a big part of it, of course, but it's not because of that. It's because spiritually you're healing yourself and you're doing the work. You're doing a lot of work, man. Like it's that's why it's so difficult to go on long streaks, and why I haven't been able to make it, because you're basically like doing some of the work that like maybe your mother and your father should have like taught you some of these things in your life. And you're also doing some of the work that maybe even your grandparents should have taught you in life. And then you're also doing work on yourself in general, right? Because if I were to look at myself, 5 years ago, when I first started my journey, I wasn't the worst. I wasn't like how some of these people are out here nowadays and doing all this craziness, but I would definitely have to say that I was not thinking about, some of the things I was thinking about. I was just doing stuff, right? A lot of us get stuck into that root, stuck into that mind state where you're just like, oh, I'm just doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing all these things, and you didn't have really like a vision or a plan or a goal or even some guidance from anyone on where to go in life. When you retain, you get that guidance, you get that ability to see. It's just so difficult because this age that we live in, we have so much, like I've said, access to the very thing that it's hard to go without for some, right? In the beginning, at least. And then after the beginning stages, it gets easier. Yeah, guys, just stay on your journeys and, stay focused. Remember that no matter what happens, you got this. Keep pushing. Peace out.